Hello and welcome. I'm your host, William Liu. You are listening to the Raptors Reaction Podcast presented by Betway for all your sports betting activities. Hit the QR code that you see here on the screen or follow the link that you see in the description of the podcast. Raptors 5-game winning streak is a thing of the past. Raptors lose tonight 122 to 106 against the Chicago Bulls. Honestly, I gotta give the Bulls a lot of credit. They played really well. They really shared the ball well. They moved the ball well. They got into the paint. Multiple players got into the paint. They created a lot of driving kicks, and the Bulls are a heavy volume 3-point shooting team. They were hot early. They stayed hot throughout, and Raptors just could not contend with the Bulls tonight. Chicago really beat the Raptors down on their home court. A couple. I mean, honestly, before we even talk about the game, just a couple of suspicious things, if we can call it that. Before the game, Darko did discuss the fact that everybody was available to play. I suppose I can leave the possibility that something happened, you know what I mean? But realistically, everybody was available to play. That was sort of the consistent messaging before the game. And then when we actually got to the game itself, we did not see Chris Boucher, who did not take the floor tonight. And we did not see Kelly Olynyk, who had missed the last couple of games, but again, was listed as available to play. That's a little odd. They certainly have been the Raptors, two of the Raptors' best performing players, especially off the bench. When available during the stretch, make of that what you will, but I think people kind of understand and can read between the lines as to why some of these players have been held out. Of course, you can always say for developmental purposes, that's fine. Although, I don't know, Orlando Robinson has the 10-day, it's still whatever. There was that aspect, and then there was also the aspect of Immanuel Quickley coming back from injury. Darko did talk about it beforehand in terms of just like, he will be on a minutes restriction. This is a pretty aggressive minutes restriction if they're, again, like this is sort of like the idea, but he only had played 15 minutes in this game as he made a return from a hip injury that cost him the last couple of weeks here. So just a bit of an awkward game all around in terms of just like who was available to play. I also think at certain points that the Raptors kind of played lineups that, again, didn't necessarily feel the most competitive. Not to say that, IQ, RJ, and Scotty, any of those guys were cooking in particular, but also at the same time, seeing lineups in the fourth quarter when it was not garbage time yet, seeing lineups with none of those guys on the court, your main three playmakers, it really did lead to, some questions as to sort of, again, like how competitive were the Raptors intending to be in a game like this. Once again, look, this is why when the Raptors were winning, and there were the concerns in the back of your mind, like, okay, they're winning, but like also at the same time, they're not really going to try to push for the play-in. What about the tank and the reverse standings, all that kind of stuff? This is why I was never particularly worried. I always felt like, yes, the Raptors were playing a lot better, and yes, that there were certain factors that led to that. Scotty was a big contributor in all fronts. Davion brought a lot of defense, but also the most important thing was that their bench went from, very, very off on a lot of nights to then being like fairly productive, and a pretty big positive for them. Chris Boucher, Kelly Olynyk, Bruce Brown, those three guys that were consistently, when you look back on even just our show, how many of those guys were getting, awarded 3 stars. They were consistently playing really well. And of course, Bruce Brown did play in this one, but didn't have nearly the same impact. He had a really quiet game tonight. Bruce was 0 of 3 in 17 minutes. He didn't play much. It was a -19. Didn't really do much on the floor at all. But yeah, I mean, like, it always felt like if you took some of the veterans off this team, especially if you replaced them once again with the minutes that are going to the younger guys, you are going to see some sort of drop off. Now, granted, I didn't really think that was like the whole issue tonight. It wasn't like, oh, they lost the game because they pulled 2 vets, whatever. I think for me, more than anything else, like the Raptors have been playing elite defense over their last 8 games. They've been doing an amazing job on the defensive end. They've been shutting guys down. But tonight, they just could not guard the Bulls on the perimeter whatsoever. I mean, the Raptors did try to press up as they typically do, create some ball pressure. But, the Bulls were easily turning the corner. The Bulls were setting really quick screens and slipping out of them and forcing the Raptors into switches. I mean, the amount of times you saw Kobe White going one-on-one against Jakob Poeltl with no help coming, I mean, he's going to get torched, man. Kobe White's tough. And as good as Jakob is, and even Jakob tonight with 5 blocks, which was great, the only reason he got 5 blocks, though, is because he was constantly, having to rotate at the rim and being in compromised positions where he had to challenge so many opportunities. Chicago did an amazing job of creating these mismatches or creating chances to sort of go at Toronto's weaker defenders, getting into the paint and either drawing the foul or kicking it out and getting open threes. And again, the Bulls shot 40 threes. They made 18 of them. That was a huge factor. The Raptors only went 10 of 30 from three. So, that, just wasn't enough. Toronto did try to counter by playing in the paint, which is, if you were to say the Raptors had an advantage, it would be, through playing in the paint. And sometimes they had those tic-tac-toe sequences that we've seen. Jakob certainly threw a couple of alley-oop lobs, and he continues to sort of do that each game, facilitating well. He actually led the Raptors in assists tonight with 6. But in general, I thought the Bulls actually did a pretty good job of guarding, RJ's drives, for example. I thought Ayo Dosunmu on the Bulls did a really good job of bodying up and contesting and swatting RJ a couple of times. And Scotty, as much as he was aggressive on offense, was mostly taking the fadeaway mid-range, and he did make 3 of those along the baseline, which was nice to see. But even instances where he had dropped a guy and he had a chance to sort of step through and just go in for a finger roll or go in for a closer shot, he was even still, with the guy on the ground, still fading away for some of these shots. So it felt like the Bulls, again, if you're going to go trade driving twos, which if you miss, you're going to give a transition the other way. And the Bulls played a lot in transition too. They're a very fast team. If you're going to go for tough twos versus open threes, you're going to lose most of the time, especially nowadays in the modern NBA. And so, you got to credit the Bulls. They did a really good job. I thought Nick Vucevic also gave the Raptors a lot of problems. That's sort of, the element of him being able to pop out for 3, but also play around the basket and bully guys around. I mean, the Raptors, it always felt like they either didn't have enough size in the middle to sort of contend with, protecting the rim, or they had too much size on the floor, and that meant, too little foot speed to guard against Chicago's wing players. So, basically a night and day difference between what the Raptors have been doing recently and, what they saw here tonight. I mean, they just got completely whacked over the head. And yeah, I mean, I have heard some of the theories in terms of the Raptors defensive, scheme is designed to really challenge some of their players, and that, it's by design that some of these guys are getting, blown by because they're being asked to play so pressed up on their man, and that doesn't necessarily create enough space to sort of let them drive. And to some degree, I do agree with that. But also at the same time, we've seen much better individual efforts by the Raptors, especially over the last 2 weeks, that isn't necessarily explainable by, how they performed tonight. I think tonight was kind of inexplicable. They just settled back into some bad habits and they lost the game. And quite frankly, I'm not upset. I think most people who have watched this season can understand that the main goal, more than anything else, is to get as many chances at the lottery as they can in this summer. And so they're not necessarily worried about a loss like this, and neither am I. At the same time, though, I gotta say, this team has shown that it can play defense, and tonight it was nothing close. I mean, everybody was blowing by their man from their. I mean, everybody was just blown by their man. I don't even know what else to say. Just everybody on the Bulls was torching us. And again, I think the Bulls had a really coherent strategy. Every single player that took the floor for Chicago took at least 2 threes. They played 9 guys, and everybody made a 3, and everybody took at least 2 threes. That's just how the modern game is kind of played. They almost played a little bit like a Celtic style of game tonight, and again, it just overwhelmed the Raptors. In terms of the new things that happened in this game, IQ was able to return to the lineup. He had been out again with the hip issue, and he's been out for the majority of the season. I think this is only his 10th game of the year, which is wild to say because it's February this weekend. But he was able to return. I did ask Darko before the game, are you guys going to do something differently to sort of maintain his status and allow him to keep playing in the games, right? Because injuries have been such an issue. He kind of he didn't really say anything in particular, but also at the same time, he did mention that he would be on a minutes restriction. Tonight, he only played 15 minutes, which is a little strange. We've seen minute restrictions. Certainly, it's not an uncommon thing, especially when players come back from injury. But 15, especially for a starter, is really, really low. It makes me almost wonder, was there, why is it just 15? If it was just 15, also just bring the guy off the bench at this point. 15 is a really, really tough number to work with, especially when the guy's starting. It just changes your rotations a lot. But more than anything else, like I wanted to see how IQ looked once he was able to come back onto the floor. It felt like he played the majority of that in the first half, maybe like 10 of the 15 in the first half. And he was, able to generate offense, which, from the point guard position has been more rare. Davion Mitchell certainly has his merits on the defensive end, and that's always great to see. But offensively, the contributions are a little bit more sparse. And seeing IQ come in the game and being aggressive and taking pull-up threes, he made 2 threes, and he was able to, or he made 3 threes, sorry. To see him take guys off the dribble and finish and ones and stuff like that, like, the drawing fouls with his quickness, like that's always been something where, the Raptors needed that secondary type of perimeter creation. Like, yes, they've done a really great job of playing tic-tac-toe with Jakob and RJ and going to the basket and going to the high post and then cutting and splitting off the ball and then getting, nice passes inside for dunks and layups. And, that's something they consistently do, especially after timeouts. Scotty's done a really good job now of making the mid-range his own, and also in addition to him going to the basket and using his size. But they need that perimeter play creation, and that's something RJ does not give them. That's something that Scotty does not really give them, especially not from the 3-point line. He's shooting under 30% this year. Grady has really cooled off, and I'll maybe touch on that in a little bit, but that's where the unique skill set of IQ comes in. And at least, again, in the limited minutes that he played, he had 14 points in 15 minutes. So I do, have some questions as to sort of like, how much is he going to be able to play? Of course, it's not sustainable to just only playing 15 a game, and how Darko's going to change that as sort of a year goes on. More than anything else, it's just important for him to stay healthy and actually spend time playing with the Raptors' main guys, because it has just been that kind of a nightmare year for IQ as he continues to just be in and out of the lineup. Hopefully he's just in the lineup and able to get comfortable and get healthy. Tonight he actually looked pretty good, and especially on the defensive end, that's always a concern. I actually thought he did okay defensively. Like, he hustled. Probably the biggest hustle play of the game for the Raptors, because there wasn't that many, was after a bad pass turnover. I forgot who threw the pass, but it wasn't IQ's fault. Tried to reset it to the top, overthrew the pass. It went into the backcourt. IQ did not give up on the play. Kobe White looked back in transition before going up for the layup, and IQ snuck in and swiped the ball away. It was just a pure hustle play. IQ did look a little tired after that, so I totally understand. He's been out a lot. But yeah, I mean, IQ looked pretty good tonight in limited minutes, and it's just a question of, can he extend those minutes beyond what they did tonight. The other part tonight that really felt strange was just seeing the struggles of Grady Dick. He really was not able to get his offense going in the first half. I mean, he hit a 3 late in the game, which was nice, but also at the same time, it felt like some of the wide open threes that you really, really needed him to knock down, like wide open in the corner, he's there. Just wasn't able to knock those down. The mid-range shots weren't really there for him either. He had a couple of strange circus finishes at the basket. One time where he kind of was spun all the way around trying to finish over the top of his head, backwards trying to bank it in. Like, you're not going to make that. Like, let's, you know what I mean? Like, maybe he was drawing a foul or something, but he just was not able to get his offense going. At least defensively, he did a slightly better job in terms of, like, keeping his matchups in front, the chances where guys trying to go at Grady, but ultimately it wasn't like his defense was so good that it made up for the fact that offensively he really struggled. I mean, 4-12 from the field. Some of these were just like the open looks weren't really converting for him. And I think, again, like on a night where Chicago, it felt like everybody from their team was a credible threat to shoot. And literally everybody that stepped on the floor, again, all of them made at least 1 3 coming into the game, and everybody took at least 2 threes in their matchup tonight. That's really impressive, and it felt like even semi-open ones, the Bulls were just hitting, versus with the Raptors, it felt like, okay, Scotty couldn't really get those threes to drop, obviously Jakob's not going to try any threes, although, like, once again, Jakob, I would love for you to try some threes just for the entertainment value. RJ wasn't really able to get the threes to drop either, especially early in the game. IQ was able to hit them, but he didn't play for the majority of the game. And you just needed Grady to sort of come in and knock some down. I mean, the fact that Davion Mitchell ends up contributing 3 of the Raptors' 10 made threes tonight, and whatever, like Davion could probably take 15 open threes a game just based on how open teams leave him, and they go under on him, which is pretty rare. Very few point guards in the league get, the coverage where people are going under on him. This isn't the 08 with Rajon Rondo anymore. But yeah, Davion was able to sort of get into some of his patented step back threes. But still, like, you just didn't get that sort of like knockdown conversion. And again, like when you're trading tough twos for open threes, you are going to lose. And by that third quarter, the Bulls really started pulling away. The Raptors, again, just could not guard their dribble penetration. They looked kind of slow. They looked tired. It looked like they couldn't hide Jakob, and yet at the same time, they couldn't protect the rim without Jakob either. So just a really tough place to be in. And again, like, Chicago played really well. Like, those guys came in, and everybody who stepped on the floor for them contributed. And it was especially noticeable off the bench because the Raptors bench had been really, really playing great of late. And you see, Bruce Brown, for example, 17 minutes, 0 points. You see Orlando Robinson playing 14 minutes off the bench. Ochai Agbaji, 4 points in 21 minutes. He has not yet gotten his rhythm back. And the Ochai that we saw at the start of the season when he was starting versus the Ochai we've gotten since the injury and he cut his hand or whatever, has not been the same. And the confidence just necessarily isn't there, and the rhythm isn't there. And even Jacoby Walter, who I thought probably gave the Raptors their best bench minutes, and I was happy to see Jacoby, and he's been out of the rotation a lot of these games, or he's been like playing like 5-10 minutes. He got to actually get extended run tonight, 18 minutes for Jacoby, and even though he didn't really knock down the threes well, but he continues to show that knack for drawing contact and drawing fouls. That was probably the best part of this game for me, was seeing Jacoby explore his offensive skill set, and tonight, he continues to sort of showcase that very hidden skill that he had coming out of college, which, yes, he was primarily a shooting guard, and primarily he was getting his value in making jumpers, especially from three, but he also went to the line quite a bit. I think it was like over 5 times a game, which is not typically what you would expect to see from a player of his profile. But when you watch him, number one, he's very fearless, right? He was willing to sacrifice his body and go hard to the basket and take a couple of shots. And, certainly that was like half of his free throws tonight. But the other stuff too was like, the pump fakes, the knowing sort of what to do around the rim, not panicking, taking an extra dribble here to get in a rhythm, to get into a little extra space. And he doesn't go straight up. He's not too eager when it comes to sort of like, just sneaking up a shot. And a lot of times that's sort of like, the clip with Pat Beverly, where he's talking about Kawhi Leonard and his advice from Kawhi Leonard. And Kawhi apparently texted Pat and said, slow is pro. And, like, if you can go slow, and you can still sort of like not be rushed, that's what pros do, and that's what pros are able to sort of like capitalize on, sort of like the over eagerness of others when they're sort of guessing and hesitating and maybe trying sometimes to anticipate and using that anticipation against them. And I'm not saying Jacoby's Kawhi Leonard, but also at the same time, I feel like Jacoby just did a really good job executing exactly what Kawhi was saying with the slow and pro. I mean, there's even one play where he was in transition where he got into a Euro step and created that slow down separation where his defender's backpedaling, but he's not expecting Jacoby to go sideways rather than vertically. And he slides back. Jacoby stays where he is, and that creates that gap in separation for him to sort of go up for the finish. So Jacoby was nice, but ultimately, yeah, Chicago's bench just completely worked ours. Jalen Smith was killing us. Patrick Williams knocking down 30-foot threes. I couldn't believe it. Dalen Terry, tough end of the shot clock play creation. And then Matas Bazuelas, who I'm surprised that he slid so much in the draft. I thought he was he's a talented player. I mean, it's not like the G League Ignite has done a great job of executing in terms of like developing top end talents the way it should have been. And but still, I thought Matas actually looked pretty good as a prospect. He's big. He's got size. He's got a pretty good skill set for a player of that size. And he doesn't always play like this, I understand. But tonight he was booming the Raptors. Like, he did an amazing job, and he played on both ends of the floor too. And so I'm excited to see, I guess, more of him at All-Star Weekend because he's going to be in that dunk contest. So I don't know. We'll see. But ultimately, yeah, Raps were not great tonight. They were not even close. And I feel like, once again, I feel like it's a little suspicious that you don't see Chris, you don't see Kelly on a night where they're both supposedly healthy and available to play. But I wanted to get your thoughts on the game. So we're going to take a quick break right here. Please leave your comments in the chat. Do you think, do you think something, funny was going on with holding some of those vets out? And we'll get to those questions and more after the break. But you've been listening to the Hello and Welcome podcast, and this is a chance for us to take a quick break.
Hey, man.
Hey, buddy.
Just recently hit the big 4-0. What about you, bro?
A little more recently 4-0, but we are both in the 40 club.
Let me tell you, man, being an adult really comes with its share of challenges.
Definitely. I think both you and I are homeowners, and I think we're both also dealing with mortgages in life.
Yeah, man. Mortgage rates, choosing the right terms, dealing with paperwork. It can be really overwhelming,
I still don't know how that works.
Well, listen. That's where our friends at Dominion Lending Centers come in, man. They make the whole process simple and stress-free. Whether you're renewing your mortgage, hunting for the best rates, or if you just need advice, they're here to help, bro.
You know what? I am looking for that advice, and I think that's why I'm going to visit www.dominionlending.ca.
Yeah, man. www.dominionlending.ca. Take the guesswork out of your mortgage and step into financial confidence with our friends at Dominion Lending by our side.
Okay, it is time now for the Tangerine Fan Inbox. I'm going to let you know that Tangerine is the official bank of the Toronto Raptors, foundational partner of WNBA Canada and the NBA Canada. And of course, they're not just fans of basketball, they're fans of basketball. They're fans of fans who have their own nickname for each guy in the starting five, or fans who stand 5 inches from the TV all game, or fans who can recreate every player's layup package while sitting on their couch. And if you're hearing this, there's no doubt in your commitment. Fans like you are at the heart of what makes this game great. So this year, for the Raptors' 30th season, Tangerine is turning the spotlight from the court to the stands and celebrating the way Raptor fans support their team, because this is how we fan. To learn more, visit tangerine.ca/basketball. All right, we're gonna bring in co-host Alex Wong. Is he ready to go here?
What's going on, my brother?
What's going on, man? It looks like looks like the faux hawk is safe, man.
Yeah,
No
shouts
7-game win streak here.
yeah, shouts to Dylan Terry or whoever it is for ending the win streak. Quick update after the game. Darko said, confirmed that Chris was healthy and available, and said that he wanted to take a look at Jacoby Walter a little bit, and also evaluate Orlando Robinson, who is on his second 10-day. And then he said Chris was available. He's been playing amazing, and called him, quote, the ultimate professional. I don't know if I'm that happy if I hear that, if I'm Chris and hearing that. Like, I understand the situation, tank losing season, trade deadlines close, but to be playing well and then just get randomly shut down.
Well, you got any chance you got to get to look at Orlando Robinson, you got to do it.
You know what?
You
I was pretty
you
impressed
had
with
to look
O-Rob.
at-
I was
Yeah?
pretty impressed with O-Rob for one game in Atlanta, but I'm off that train. We need to find someone else to hype up. Yeah.
He did have like a 1-minute stretch in the first quarter when it was him versus Vucevic, and he was able to bully his way to the basket for a layup, left-hand finish
Yeah.
in the post, and then the other way he was able to front the post and steal the pass. I mean, could have been called a foul, but still, good compete.
Not front the
so-
post talk, man.
Yeah, that's
Also,
what we're talking about right now.
Vucci really bends those knees on his free throw.
Yo.
Real fundamental hours.
He was killing us, man.
That routine is not going to age well.
Yo,
All right.
by the way, so Vooch, Vooch is available for trade, right? I mean, that feels like that's kind of like the discussion, whatever. And it's
Sure.
like, I feels like I don't even think that he's gonna even get a first back for Chicago.
I feel like
Vooch is pretty
Chicago's
good,
been,
at least offensively.
Chicago's been waiting, I think, to get first rounders back to move some of these guys.
Yeah,
But I don't know. I don't think they're gonna get the offers. So what are they gonna do? Just keep the team and just roll into the play-in again?
I just feel like the market is just. I mean, yes, that's exactly what Chicago does every single year. Chicago, I mean, the record is not like that close to 500. They're 21-28, but this is wow. They're 12-12 on the road. That means they're 7 games below at home. That's tough, but
Yeah,
I don't know. This is just what they do every year. They're always in the play-in.
yeah, I don't even know what they do. I mean, thanks to the new CBA negotiated by the likes of Grant Williams and CJ McCollum, I think it
Goodness.
makes it hard to trade someone like Zach LaVine even when he's playing better now.
Yeah,
It's not just a contract. It's such a huge contract. You don't even in the past, I think he'd be gone by now.
in the past he would be gone. And I maybe he gets moved in the trade deadline. It depends how desperate Miami is to stay competitive right now. Would you rather get expiring salaries or Zach LaVine in this Jimmy Butler thing? I don't know. Maybe the Warriors jump in. The Warriors are just kind of always kind of tangentially in, and then ultimately you hear reports that are no, we're good. We're gonna save it for someone else. They've done this pump fake thing for Pascal, Lauri Markkanen, Paul George, Jimmy Butler. This is just what they do. They just pump fake at whatever available players.
Yeah, just go ahead and give Jonathan Kuminga $200 million, man. Let's do it.
That sounds way worse than any of those other options, by the way. So
Yeah, Warriors slowly become super washed. Feel bad for Steph out there.
yeah, well.
Although Steph's been slowing down too, man. Sorry, just eating a Tootsie Roll. It's Friday,
wonderful. Oh yeah, it's Friday, yo, man. The way we work.
Yo,
I have
shouts
no
to the
idea what
Friday
day
crowd,
it
man.
is. Yeah,
Numbers
okay.
are way down on a Friday. What up?
I mean, it's because we lost, man. Here's the thing: everyone loves to tank, but content wise, The viewership tanks when the Raptors tank. So it is
Yeah.
what it is, man. It's for the
All right.
best. What do we
Question?
got for questions, though?
All right. Here's the first one. Do you think IQ will ever get to regular minutes this season? Seems like he's been banged up the whole year.
Yeah, I mean, the IQ being out of the lineup is a phenomenon that's unique to this season. It's not like IQ has been a player that has missed the majority of his games. That hasn't really been the case. He played, most of his games in the first 4 years of his career. Now, of course, last year he missed some time, but again, like that was, there were some other factors that sort of went into that were kind of outside of his own control. And then this year, the couple of injuries that he's had have been like little freak injuries. You know what I mean? Like they're things that don't necessarily feel repeatable. It's not like he's had a knee, injury and he keeps re-injuring that knee. Like he's just been on a pretty bad run of luck here, quite frankly. But I would love to see him consistently on the floor as he has been historically in his career. And it's very important for the Raptors to have him on the floor so that you can actually see what the chemistry is between him and Scotty and RJ and the rest of the team. I mean, like he's a huge part of this team. The Raptors re-signed him for 5 years. This is the first year of that 5-year contract. And, he's got to showcase like what he actually is to this organization. Especially because such a big commitment was already made. And he did a little bit of that last year, there's no doubt, but I mean, so much of last year was kind of inconsequential anyway, even based on the lineups. A lot of players that were on the court weren't exactly going to be future pieces. So yeah, IQ, I'm looking forward to, and I'm hoping for IQ to have a healthy finish of the season and to really establish like what his role is with the team.
Yeah, because I think in general, after each game, whether IQ plays or not, there's a lot of questions just about his fit. And I think that's been like a general topic in the chat throughout the season. It seems like,
Sure.
And I get it, man, because like he's been injured
Yeah.
for
This is
most
his
of the
10th
season.
game
And
of
there's
the
a lot of,
season.
yeah. So he's moving up the scapegoat rankings because I think we've moved Pat Delaney off it.
Wow, Pat Delaney, I don't know, defensively tonight, that was tough, but I don't think that was on Pat. Yeah,
It's Friday when you don't even have any Pat Delaney chatter in the chat, man. Come on, chat.
Man. No, guys,
Come on,
let's just leave Pat alone. Again, assistant coaches, I'm not saying they don't matter, but
which is a question from Nesta. Will you guys
Ooh.
get a Pat Delaney interview before season's end? Well, here's the answer. I think Pat would be super game to do an interview with us.
Okay. He seems like a cheery guy.
Yeah, but the answer is no. Yeah. So.
Yeah. No, I don't know, man. I've seen people in the chat saying, "Nah, Pat Delaney is back on the menu." What is this, Lord of the Rings?
Oh no!
Looks like Pat's back on the menu, boys.
Oh man! All right, next one is from LB2 class. Once the trade deadline passes, do you think it'll be less pressure on guys and the team as a whole?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like, I guess I've always wanted to ask an athlete this, but like, you know how wild it is to get traded? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
you could be out on King West tonight, and you could be packing your bags to Sacramento tomorrow morning.
Yeah, it'd be wild. like, what if because this doesn't happen in almost any other line of work, right? Outside of professional sports, where it's like, yeah, I mean, through no agency of your own, you just get moved from like, hello and welcome to like, okay, you're a Raptor show, and now you're like,
what other job
can you?
Yeah, what other job can you get traded? To another company.
I don't.
This is Draymond talking about IBM and Apple. If you work for IBM, you don't have to worry about waking up on a Monday and get traded to Apple.
No, Microsoft wasn't sending 3 first-round picks engineers to for Tim Cook.
You hear Draymond Green from Apple just punched a guy today during morning practice?
Yeah, now imagine Draymond Green in a turtleneck, man. That classic Apple look.
Oh my god,
that's tough. That's actually my look from last episode.
Yeah. So the general question is just like, oh well, will the team and the guys just kind of relax?
Yeah.
Once the deadline passes.
I mean, I think so, and I really hope so. I think it kind of always gives a bit of clarity as well. This season has especially been difficult because even though players are committed for the most part and they're playing hard and things like that, it feels so much like we want a sim to end. You know what I mean? Like we just want to get to the finish line and see what we get out of the lottery. It almost feels like what happens on the court is almost secondary to this sort of like major thing at the end of the year when it comes to the lottery and what potential they can get in terms of the first round pick. But that always makes it a weird situation, right? Like even now, like people can't fully be happy with wins and people can't fully be happy with losses either. It just creates this sort of like weird tension for everyone involved. I think at least for the trade deadline, who knows? Some of these guys will probably, I mean, they see their trade rumors. Everybody knows and everyone's aware. Some people might tell you that they don't look at it or they don't pay any attention, but it's human nature. Like, what are you supposed to do? You're not supposed to hear and see the feedback on your own name. So yeah, I mean, like, I think, for Chris, for Kelly, for Bruce, Davion to a lesser degree, even RJ, who I feel like has kind of like been, slowly brought into that sort of idea in terms of like, well, if we're gonna get Ingram, like who are we gonna have to give up for that? You know what I mean? Like, it just feels like a lot of people who are, unless you're Scotty, unless you're Grady, unless you're IQ, like, or maybe the rookies, everybody has to feel a little bit unsettled here. Even Ochai got thrown into one of these. Also, how many fake insiders are there now, by the way? Like, what happened? Because I remember when I used to work at the Score and we used to do NBA news aggregation, like, we had a list. Yeah, we had a list of like, okay, if it's not from Woj, if it's not from Shams, Chris Haynes, Mark Stein, Ramona Shelburne, like, you know what I mean? Like these like very firmly established reporters, or maybe a local beat writer that has been there for a long time, we wouldn't really go off of a lot of those because, like, quite frankly, like we know how much there is an incentive to just throw rumors out there. Who are some of these guys that are out there now?
Yeah, I think
Have you
now
seen this Chris Davis guy? Like, he looks like maybe he's a real person. I don't know, but AI has gotten really good
no,
nowadays.
I think now we've just have too many people who are trying to rush to become a part of it. And if they if they can hit on one of these, and this is all like after Woj. I think without Woj too, like we used to just have an infrastructure of just like it was just Woj and Shams, and like then we have Mark Stein, you would have Brian Windhorst, and to be honest, that was really it, right? And I think it's cool, like guys like Jake Fisher and Mike Scotto, that they're sourcing their information around the league and reporting on a lot of stuff. I think sometimes people have complaints because they might be reporting about like more preliminary conversations.
Okay.
Whereas,
but I have seen those guys break news.
Yes. Whereas
and I know that they're like in the actual building, they're credentialed, and they talk.
They're talking to people. They're talking to people, and they might be more willing to share than say the vets like a Windhorst, who's not going to share anything until he thinks a trade is actually going down.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you. There's a lot of these other names out there now.
Like Evan Sittery. Like I've seen him.
Sure.
It's just like anybody who is in a suit and has a blue check mark, which I guess this is also what happened with Twitter. They're just like, they used to hand blue check marks only to verified accounts of verified reporters. And now it's like, you pay $100, you can get it.
Yeah, I think
I don't know, man. Like,
no, it is tough. Like the biggest, I mean, news breaking. I feel like NBA news breaking this year has been tough. Like the biggest news I've gotten from Shams is LiAngelo Ball signing with Def Jam this year. Like, name another bomb,
By the way, they've been playing Tweaker a lot in the Raptors arena.
Oh yeah,
Scotiabank Arena.
Damn, man, I'm missing out.
Yo, you well, the music video is kind of fire too. Actually, I'm actually all the way back in on the Ball brothers, man. I like all three of them now too.
Yeah, I'm happy for the Balls, man. They're like, LeVar did say that they were all going to be super successful. Yeah. And then when they were successful, he was going to take a step back.
Sure. Yeah.
And I haven't heard from LeVar in a while, so he's living up to that promise.
I mean, he's done his job as a father, man. All three sons are like wildly successful.
This man used to literally strut on ESPN.
Yo, that was sick, man.
To beef with Stephen A. Smith. What happened to the game I love?
He was like, I could beat Michael Jordan one-on-one.
No, NBA is in a cooked era right now, straight up.
It's a little tough. I feel like we should have got more LeVar Balls. Like, I guess LeBron's the new LeVar Ball because he's forcing his son into the league.
You don't realize the good times are behind you until they're gone. You know,
I suppose, yeah.
All right, next question. Did you see the new Open Gym episode with Kyle and DeMar?
Of course I saw it, man. I mean, I think the Open Gym crew has done a great job of, there's several documentaries out on the Toronto Raptors. Maybe this is a chance for you to sort of discuss the one that you're, involved in an upcoming project. But, Open Gym this season has sort of like cut away from the day-to-day sort of documentation of like what's going on and sort of like taken more like step back, kind of like large scale view of like what happened historically in different periods. And the Kyle and DeMar episode, I mean, aside from Kyle not getting mic'd right properly because Kyle's mic was kind of a little off, but like, it was really, really sweet and nostalgic to sort of go back in time. There wasn't that much in there that I didn't like learn before. Like I kind of already knew this, but at the same time, like even getting to sort of get back in those moments and sort of see a lot of those faces. And it wasn't even just Kyle and DeMar, because like, you know, the franchise players are always going to get the headlines, but even seeing like, you know, Gravis Vasquez, you know, Lou Williams, like Amir Johnson, like I saw some Tyler Hands where there's a picture of Chuck Hayes at, you know, Terrence Ross, and they're all like kind of like posing at the airport gate, you know, seeing like Louis Scola get a high five, or Bismack Biyombo, or, you know, damn, I was even happy to see DeMar Carroll recently, you know, shouts to DeMar Carroll. I think he's an assistant with Cleveland now under Kenny Atkinson's staff, but like, Corey Joseph, like all these guys, like I was actually really happy to see those faces again, even if they're just kind of background characters with those two. So I don't know, it's certainly like my favorite era of the Raptors. Everybody loves those guys. I actually loved the quote that they got from RJ Barrett. Obviously RJ is Canadian, he grew up here, and he said like those two are legends and they built like so much of this entire era. And you know, if you don't respect Kyle and DeMar, like you know, you can't be respected as a Raptor fan. Like I agree with that 100%. No, those weren't the guys that were going to take you to the championship. And I'm sorry to DeMar, man. We were not going to win the chip with you instead of Kawhi. Like, let's be 100% real here. But everybody who's a Raptor fan loves those two guys. And yeah, I don't know, man. You were in the locker room a ton for that whole era. Like, what do you remember about those two, man?
Not much. No, I think
Tough.
no, one of the cool things about even winning the championship is I almost feel like it allows fans to just appreciate Kyle and DeMar.
Yes.
Just because
Yes,
like
I
the
agree.
championship, like sure, I mean you can talk about that DeMar wasn't able to help us get over the hump, and it took the Kawhi Leonard trade and all these other moves,
Mhm.
but it's almost like the winning the championship gave the fans that peace of mind, gave the closure on that era. They're able to get to the mountaintop. So you don't have to talk about Kyle and DeMar just in terms of them never winning a championship. You
Yes.
can just truly sit there, watch this episode, reminisce, and appreciate what they did. And I think most of the people listening to the pod and like
Mhm.
watching this is like they probably grew up watching that era, like
Oh, yeah.
similar to RJ as well. And they understand like how important those years were before the championship and bringing the Raptors back to being relevant, the 50+ win seasons and all
Yeah.
that stuff.
No, I mean, I have so many memories of like being in, you know, in night classes, you know, for the university lectures. Like sometimes they'll do one a week and there's like 6 to 9 p.m. And I'd just be sitting in the back of the class, like on some illegal stream, and I'd just be watching
Nice.
the Raptors game, you know? And
I used to read manga in class.
Oh,
No
word?
manga for you? No,
Yo,
no
you
Death. I used to run through Death Note.
used to read in class?
I used to
You
run through
nerd?
Death Note during economics.
Nah, bro, I was streaming Raptors, Rockets, or whatever. But
Nice.
it was also their closeness too. Like it's so rare in sports when you get like that level of closeness. Like you could tell nobody in the Raptors is that close. Like right now, like nobody on the Raptors is that close. You know, even Colin, Fred and Pascal. As much as you know, shouts to friend of the program, NS Esmer, children ruin everything. But you know, even he gave them like the Spice and Dice nickname. Like, and they were great friends. They're really close. You know what I mean? They came in the league together. They went through all the phases together. Everything like that. It still ain't Kyle and DeMar, man. That's so rare to see. You know, and sometimes it just felt like you just felt so warm and watching them. And to do like, you know, I mean, you and I know kind of like the same feeling of like being able to work with your closest friends, but it does truly make work a lot more special when you're able to do it with people you're close to. So
Yeah, and like you mentioned,
also,
it
I mean,
was.
RJ and IQ are close. Yeah, they're close, but like it's not Kyle and DeMar close, bro. Let's be honest
You also got to go through. You also got to go through some wars and on the court. Like Kyle and
Yeah.
DeMar got close
Right.
because they went through like that 2013-14 season, like
Sure.
leading the team to the playoffs. And remember Kyle and DeMar hugging each other
Mhm.
on the court after Kyle got blocked by Paul Pierce.
Yeah, Kyle's on the
at the end
ground
of
and
Game
DeMar
7.
literally lies on top of him.
And if I remember correctly, like wasn't Kyle heading to free agency Like, was he heading to free agency, or maybe it was the year after?
Kyle was
But
heading to free agency maybe the year after.
okay,
Yeah.
but there was like still questions at the time of like, oh, long term, are
Right.
those guys going to be here? And like, you have to go through like all the bad times and the good times.
For sure.
I think for those friendships to really strengthen, and you
Yeah.
saw that with Kyle and DeMar. But yeah, like you said today, the NBA announced, the uninterrupted. Shouts to Vinay and the uninterrupted Canada team partnering with Crave and TSN. They're going to be releasing a doc called "We the North: From Prehistoric to Historic."
Ooh,
That's
fire
going to
title,
be
man.
debuting in Cineplex theaters on February 21st,
Oh wow.
and then eventually going to make its way to Crave. So there's going to be a theatrical release from Feb 21st, I want to say till 24th.
Yo,
So it's if you
wanna
go to
go?
Cineplex, if you go to NBA.com/30 years right now, you can actually check out which theaters it's going to be, get tickets and stuff like that. The film was directed by Sammy Khan, who recently worked on the Netflix Starting Five series.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and it was super cool. Like Vinay and the team asked me to come and I guess just kind of help behind the scenes, like consult, help
Right.
out with like prepping for interviews and like a lot of the stuff. It covers the first 30 years of the Raptors, so like help consult on a lot of stuff about like the early years and things like
Mhm.
that. So
Mhm.
yeah, people should check that out. I know there's a lot of different documentaries out there right now, and I think they're all
Right.
great in their own right. And it's cool.
Mhm.
It's cool. I mean, we just did an interview with Chuck Swirsky today. Like,
We
it's
did.
cool to spend this season, this 30th anniversary season, really just like looking back and really just learning new things.
Hey man, we're turning the spotlight from the court to the stands.
Yeah. Wait, is that part of
That's
that?
what
Okay.
That's what we're doing this season, baby. Shouts to Tangerine.
That's right.
Uh,
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
no, I'm really excited. Can I ask you one question though?
Mhm.
Because we there is obviously the other doc that's out there, which is really well made, but
Yeah, the sports at the Raptors delight.
Raptors Light's been good. I've been
Yeah.
enjoying watching it. You can see it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Um, my question is this one as pro Vince as that one is? That one is like Vince did no wrong. Vince didn't even want to
Yeah.
trade at the end, and
No, I
all of a
think
sudden, why is everyone booing Vince? I'm like, bro, what? What are we doing? We're going too
Yeah.
far with this.
Well, I
man.
haven't seen that one yet, like that
Okay.
episode yet.
All right.
So I gotta take a look and then
Well,
see. So.
there is an interview. Obviously, a friend of the program, Michael Grange, who's actually developed a really close bond with Vince, and Vince actually shouted out Grange at the 30th, or not the 30th, but one at the jersey retirement, because Grange had written this great piece in the 10-year anniversary of the Vince trade, and he did a really great job of sort of like presenting more Vince's perspective, which at the time was very, very heavily rejected. But he even asked him something like, like the play in Seattle, right? The giving away the play in Seattle at the end of the game. And Vince was like, "Come on, man! You think I would do that? You know what I mean? Like, there's everybody runs the same stuff at the end of the game. It's a question.
Hey, that's
of,
not
can you
saying he
stop
did.
it?
That's not a no. Then
That's
Yeah.
not. That ain't a no.
That's
That ain't
not a no.
Just like it's
saying
it's never
everybody
it's
runs
never
the
apology
same
either.
stuff.
Ever. It's never an apology
Like-
either. Never.
No, they need to get Vince. They need to put Vince with McNulty and Bunk. I need a full investigation.
No,
I need
no.
wiretaps and everything, man.
Dude, I don't even care at this point. Like, I actually don't care.
Listen,
Like,
it's over, right?
It's
Like, it's
all
over.
over. It's all
Yeah.
fine. We all love Vince now, man. Like, we have him on the court, on the jersey. His jersey's retired. It was all just such a beautiful moment. But I don't. Also, at the same time, it's just like anyway. I'm just hoping, maybe we get a more balanced perspective. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, this is from Jose M. Says, I'm a Bulls fan here due to no
Mm-hmm.
dunks and has been listening to us, I assume, most of the year because the vibes are good.
Yo,
So shouts to Jose, man. I appreciate you tapping in, following this 15 and 33 Raptors team.
yes, absolutely. Honestly, the Bulls look. I mean, I know the Bulls haven't been good this season. They're 21 and 28, but I like their style of basketball, man. They play really fast. They got so many ball handlers. A couple of players on their team I really wouldn't mind taking off their hands. Like, if we can get Al Desumnu at some point, I like him a lot, man. He plays he's really he played a really good job defensively tonight. Josh Giddey, you guys can keep him. But Matas Vazelis, I thought he slipped in the draft.
Oh, he's untouchable. Yeah.
He's untouchable.
Yeah, he's on their untouchable list.
Do you think there's that's actually kind of who's the worst untouchable player in the NBA?
Oh my god.
We actually, that could be a new investigation.
Yeah, it could be Terrence Mann. Yeah, if he's still untouchable.
Who's trying to touch Terrence, man? Leave
Where's
Terrence
PJ
alone.
Tucker right now? Yeah. I want
Yeah.
documentaries. Like how Netflix has starting five.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want the not starting five. I want the
Mm.
guys who have been sent home.
Oh
Like, give me
man.
the last 3 months of BJ Tucker.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
what have you been up to? I need your day to day.
Well, I think you could just
Right.
check out Complex, right? Like
Like, are you
I
running
think he's
this?
on sneaker
Like,
shopping.
are you running the sand dunes every day? Like, what is like the routine? You must be getting into like pickup games and stuff. Like, you have
I
to.
mean, I hope so. Yo, imagine PJ Tucker at pickup. He's like, "Yo, I'm in the corner, wide open. Kick it out."
It's like, I know that ain't a whole bag of nine pairs of sneakers.
He's just
Just
shutting
fell out
down.
of his bag.
He's just shutting down a university student.
Oh my god. This
Yeah.
is shouts to Jose. So a couple more. This one, so we were talking about the Raptors, and the question is, which era in Raptors history is the least nostalgic? No memories, nothing. For me, it's gotta be the period after Bosch left and before like Masai and like
Ooh.
Kyle got here. So this is like the Jay
That's good.
Triano.
Yeah.
Jay Triano's coaching. Dwayne Casey is not here yet.
Yep.
Is this kind of a little bit? This is Young Guns. Like Sonny Weems is
Yeah.
here. But the team is just like, what can you really remember about?
Well, for
that
me,
period?
that was when I was like probably getting the most diehard period of my Raptor fandom. So I think just for me personally, like I was actually watching a lot of those games of like Jared Jack at point guard and then Jared Bayless at point guard.
Yeah.
We had just like random players walk in and out. David Anderson, I remember him. That was our first Aussie big before
Not
Aaron
DA.
Baines. Yeah, Anderson with I think 2 E's. Seeing random players come in like Linton Johnson the third, it was just like, I don't know, like they made Leandro Barbosa like their like go-to player for periods.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, they're clearly just trying to gas it up. Like they were literally trying to gas it up. Linus Kleza was a huge part of that era. Ed Davis, we drafted him. He was just a walking double-double, but he would never give you more than 10 and 10, it feels like. There's something about that Barbosa era. Like, I got really excited about, Reggie Evans grabbing a ton of rebounds in games.
Yeah. Because Bargnani was still here.
Bargnani was
Like,
still here.
Bosch
but he was
leaves and Bargnani is still here.
Yeah, and Barks was just never it. Like I don't, honestly, this is the weirdest thing to piss me off. But like when people say like, "Oh, Barks would have been different in this era," I'd be like, "No, he would have sucked in this era too."
Yeah,
His defense is so bad, especially in space. Maybe in the post, he was able to get a couple of like the stops, but in this era, when everyone's shooting threes and bigs aren't just trying to post you up, Bargnani would have been run off the floor. And it's not like his three was so accurate because you look at the percentage, it was never good. Like, no, man, no. Like, no. But yeah, that season, Barbosa, we were trying to gas him up. So we gave him, he was at 26% usage rate on the year, which was just second to Bargnani on the season. And I remember them force feeding him so many touches. And I was like, okay, I guess we'll get his numbers good and then we'll trade him. And I believe he was traded for a top 55 protected pick to Indiana at the end of the 2011 season.
That's
which
the
is
that's the
crazy,
Bronny
bro.
James second rounder, man.
They were like, if that player is better than Bronny, we're keeping him.
God.
Like the top 55 protected is insane, man.
Yeah, there were some players, man. Like I'm looking at the roster from 2010, 11. I guess this is the first year after Bosch left. You got guys like Alex Ajinça, Solomon Alabi.
I love Alex Ajinça, man.
Marcus Banks.
Yep.
Jared Bayless was here. Joey Dorsey, Ronald Dupree.
Ronald Dupree.
Sundiata Gaines.
So yeah, I guess
We had the Johnson bros. We had Amir Johnson, James Johnson, Trey Johnson.
Trey Johnson is crazy.
No way.
Is that? Who's Trey? That must be Linton Johnson the third.
Oh, like that's his
Clinton
real
Johnson
name.
the third. Yeah, he was called Linton Johnson. Why didn't he become Trey? That's sick.
22 and 60 that season.
Yeah.
30th in defensive rating.
Yeah, that was 20th, a Toronto special. Yeah,
20th in offensive rating.
Yeah, no, we just had some random players. Ben Uzo back in the day, Anthony Carter, Gary Forbes, Aaron Gray. You didn't even know where these players like how they end up on your roster. Al Anderson had a couple years where again he was high usage, which was crazy. DeMar was just like, DeMar wasn't even that good either, but it kind of was that meme of that like Ferrari in that like badly disheveled house.
Yeah,
in that garage. Like that's kind of DeMar on those teams. But I
Oh my
actually
god. Yeah.
my candidate for the least nostalgic era is the year the 2 years between when Vince was traded and before they won the Atlantic Division in 2007.
Oh
That
yeah,
oh
those were
four oh
tough.
five oh five oh six era where it's like it's a lot of Donyell Marshall, it's a
Yeah.
lot of Jalen Rose.
Yeah.
It's just players that you would like never expect to see on a Raptors roster. Like that's when we play that basketball reference game and I try to make you guess players, like I always try to dip into that era of like Rafa Arugio getting
Yeah.
traded for Chris Humphries. Like that bag is crazy. Like Pop
Getting
Sal
yeah.
in that range, Matt Bonner was in that range. Like it was crazy, man. Skip to my Lou. We had 3 players on the team named Williams, which is crazy. That's 25%, 20% of the team.
Yeah, coming off that Vince Carter high too. I mean, the high was like 2001.
Right,
So
right,
you're
right.
like really coming off that high, and then a few years of just like not meeting expectations, Vince wanting out, and then going
Mhm.
from there. Like that was super tough too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
that's a good
era.
call. I heard some people in the chat say
A lot of
the
Lauren
pet
Woods.
the Tampa season. And
Nah,
I think they have a point in that
okay.
when we look back in like 10 years, 20 years, we do another reminisce
Uh-huh.
or other people doing another reminisce at 40th anniversary, 50th. Like I don't think we're looking back at Tampa and really remembering too much. It's more
Oh man.
historical than memories.
You don't remember the game where Yuta Watanabe and Paul Watson combined for 40?
I remember the one, was it the Hawks that beat them at the end and Norm just fell to his knees? I think it was a literal buzzer beater. And there's this great shot probably from like Nelcam, who was one of 7 people led into the
Yeah,
gym
sure.
in Tampa. It's like Norm was standing at the basket just watching the ball go in and just fell to his knees. Yeah. That
Yeah.
season started so poorly.
That season was hilarious. Pascal missed back-to-back spinning game winners. And it
Yeah.
completely, I mean, that and the bubble completely ruined his reputation
I
for like a
swear to
solid
God,
3
we
years.
started the season against New Orleans again, too.
Yeah, Zion took it to us
Yeah.
and he beat us that game. I remember Chris Boucher obviously had his stretches, but like we were gassing up like DeAndre Bembry. There was like Stanley
Yeah.
Johnson playing some small ball center.
Yeah.
There
Little
was
Freddie Gillespie.
little
in
Freddie
there.
Gillespie singing "Party in
Yeah.
the USA," and then they had to remove the
Yeah.
video because they didn't get copyright to like actually use the song, which is
Yeah.
crazy. They had to delete the clip, but everyone remembers him doing the cat Dougie in 2021, which is crazy thirsty because Kate Upton was 2011. You also had Malachi Flynn's rookie year, Jalen Harris, your boy,
Yeah,
that you
that's
bought a
right.
jersey.
Jalen Harris went to Dallas and like went off.
Bro, Jalen
towards
Harris
the
was
end
like,
of the
"Oh, I always had this in my bag," and then he was just eliminated from the NBA because
Oh,
of
man.
drugs. Like it was it was just wild, man.
And even
like,
the photos were hilarious because like
yeah,
they're
Ken
snapping
Burge getting Ken Burge.
they're like snapping photos of the players coming into the parking lot.
Yeah,
So it was just like Kyle's like Maserati every
Yeah.
game.
that's when you knew Kyle wasn't coming back to Toronto because it's like, oh, why is he whipping a Mozzie every single day?
He was just like golfing every day. I think the only good stretches was like you trade for Gary and then Gary like went off for like 2 weeks.
Gary went off for 2 weeks. He had like
Yeah.
a 42-point game against Cleveland, which I think probably is still his career high. He shot super efficiently in that game, like 15 of 19 or something. He also hit the game winner against Washington. We got Rodney Hood that season. Remember Rodney Hood?
Yeah, someone mentioned Dewan Hernandez.
DeJuan Hernandez,
Yeah.
man, 59th pick in the 2019 draft.
Yeah, the Bronny James special.
That was he was part of the Blake Murphy All Stars of like a guy that's like undrafted or like super late drafted that he
Yeah.
like is like unrational.
Was David Johnson on that team?
David
saw
Johnson
David
was also
Johnson
on
mentioned.
that. He might have been on that team because he was drafted second round.
Right.
And
Right.
If it was not that team, it was the team right after that. But yeah, that Tampa team was it was memorable because like what else were you doing during the pandemic, man?
Yeah, well, it was just tough. Like the combination
Right.
of the pandemic, like just lifestyle in general for everybody,
Yeah,
and then watching that team.
right.
And like you're coming off the bubble. You're coming off the championship. You're coming off the 2019-20 first half of the season.
Uh-huh.
You're coming off the bubble. You lose Serge. You lose Mark.
We lost
Like,
the recipes, man.
Yeah, no, you just lost. You just lost. I mean, you just lost Kawhi
Uh-huh.
the summer before, and it's like the championship team starts getting stripped down. You spend the whole first half of the season wondering if Kyle's gonna get traded.
Mm.
That doesn't happen.
Yo, that by the way, that was probably the craziest interview, like a post game interview. I guess I was in. It was obviously through Zoom.
Mm.
But I just remember like the trade deadline was on Kyle's birthday, and they played a game the night before, and Kyle was made available. And Kyle can sometimes be a little bit more like bristly or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you certainly wouldn't be the first to like shut down a reporter. But Kyle actually made sure to take the time and answer every single question because you're in the Zoom chat, so you put your hand up in the Zoom chat, like you're and sometimes you would have your hand up, but like they wouldn't get to your question because like they want to like just end the interview after like 5 minutes. Kyle took like 30 minutes to answer every single question.
Yeah.
Including, I think I was actually the last person to ask him a question that day.
Yeah, I think it was Vivek, Jacob, and then it was you, I believe.
Yeah, and I'm just
It might
like,
have been you too.
dude, you spent 10 years in Toronto, man. Like, how do you feel like you've grown up as a man? And he gave such a great answer too about it. And then the next day he just wasn't traded, so it was just mad awkward.
Yeah, that was always a tough thing about that period is never got to give a lot of these players a proper send off.
Dude, yeah.
Like Kyle just went to Tampa
right
and just went to Miami after. And you had to wait till you got back to Toronto to really show him the love.
That was
same with
months
Serge.
later. Yeah.
Same with Mark.
We had to show
Like-
Serge's tribute video twice because the first time he came back, the arena was empty.
Yeah.
So they showed it for his teammates.
Yeah, Raptors were the only
They
team.
were like,
that
"Yo,
got-
Terrence,
that got
man,
screwed."
look at all the Surge look at all the Surge moments from Toronto."
Yeah, Raps got screwed. We're the only team that got screwed the most by the pandemic, man.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Couldn't defend the title properly.
Uh-huh.
Like all of this stuff. Like,
Damn. All right.
we were robbed. We were robbed.
Well,
Defending championship season.
who
Like
was
at
screwed?
least a playoff. We didn't even get to have a chance of a playoff run as defending champs in Toronto.
Yeah. Well, it's between the Raptors and the Brooklyn Nets for who got screwed the most by the pandemic. Although the Nets one is completely self-imposed.
The Nets lost because people started doing too much research on their team.
Oh, brother.
All right,
yeah,
let's
what a
take
crazy
let's
time, man.
let's take this break and then we'll wrap up the show with stuff.
That's right. Let's take our last break. We're going to come back. We're going to hand out Axe's freshest play of the game and hand out your 3 stars. It's the 30th anniversary, and our friends at Axe are joining the celebration with a limited edition collection that's as original as the Toronto Raptors themselves.
The collection includes 3 essentials to keeping you fresh. The body spray features 48-hour high-definition scent, blending sea mist and grapefruit to keep you unstoppable throughout the day. The deodorant stick is perfect for staying confident, with a scent that keeps you smelling irresistible while showing your Raptors pride. And the body wash delivers a luxurious lather that leaves you feeling clean and smelling astonishing after every shower.
For over 40 years, Axe has drawn on body spray research and the expertise of the world's leading perfumers to craft quality fragrances and help people feel confident in their own skin.
Find the Axe Toronto Raptors 30th Anniversary Limited Edition collection at all major retailers, Walmart, Shoppers Drug Mart, and Real Canadian Superstore. But act fast because it's only available for a limited time.
Celebrate the milestone with Axe and the Toronto Raptors. Channel the freshness, energy, and unstoppable spirit of our local champions, because smelling great is always a slam dunk. Okay, it is time now for Axe freshest play of the game. And, Raps got blown out in this one, so I'm not exactly going to present to you that many options. But I think for me, clear cut, the best play of the game was Jacoby Walter getting the steal, throwing it up ahead in transition to Scotty Barnes, who looked back, saw that there was nobody chasing him down, and he just broke out into a 360 two-handed dunk casually in transition. I feel like with Scotty, he's certainly able to throw down some great dunks, but you rarely get to see that sort of creativity element. A lot of times Scotty likes to almost do the old man game of sort of like throwing down like a pretty normal, pretty easy two-handed dunk. Sometimes he likes to slow up and look back and stuff like that, and then just go for a quick flush when the defender gets close and kind of tease them in that way. But this was like Scotty using his full athleticism. And yeah, just a very effortless 360 two-handed dunk. It was quite good. Fortunately, the Raptors went on to lose this game, but that doesn't mean that play wasn't fresh as hell.
Yeah, great play.
Were you watching?
Of course, man. What's up?
You can't miss these games, man. You can't miss these games. Yeah, I mean, otherwise, let's do the usual. Let's hand on the 3 stars. Any trade? No trade reports, no trade rumors, nothing.
Nah, save them. Not enough that's happening right now. We'll save them for
fair enough.
for next week.
Damn, man. Chris isn't putting anything out there.
Well,
No,
I did
no
see
Evan reports.
I did see KOC think it was on
Oh,
a
what did
pod,
KLC say?
and he said that the Knicks should make Chris Boucher their number one target because
Really? Okay.
he said that Chris could be a backup five and he can also play alongside Cat.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Sure.
so he thinks that getting Chris Boucher would really complete the roster for them.
Wow.
That's a pretty high praise for Chris.
Do you think he could be like a Nas Reed and Cat, kind of like that sort of synergy? I mean,
Yeah,
the
I mean-
Knicks, they have been sending people to Toronto. I will say that much. Like,
I think the main thing with Chris,
Yeah.
like the effort's there. Like it's the streaky shooting, right? Like if you're counting on the scoring aspect of it, like Chris is very streaky.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Like, you're not trading for Chris, like, and making him your starter or anything. Like, this is just like
and
a
the
Joel
Knicks
off the
don't.
bench. You know what I
The
mean?
Knicks don't need a lot of scoring.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
they have that.
They do need more defense and energy and athleticism overall, and maybe a little bit more size.
Precious is
Sometimes
like, damn man, I gotta fight Chris again for minutes.
It's okay. You guys can share minutes. I'm sure Tibbs will extend his rotation for you.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I look, it certainly does feel weird to see him just completely scratched. I mean, that's happened a lot during his last 2 years here, but he's been playing the best basketball, arguably in years. And yeah, especially this close to the trade deadline. That's the thing too. Like, if that's going to be the case, like, and we're going to prioritize other young players, which is totally valid, then I would almost trade Chris for Chris's sake. Like, he's given us a great run. And if we're not even going to use him, we might as well put him on a team that will actually use him. And of course, it depends on what package we get back. But even for Chris's sake, I feel like, again, like, if we're going to prioritize other players and just rest him the rest of the year, then I would rather him, even just out of courtesy. He's played 8 years here. Doesn't really feel like completely fair.
Yeah, 3 stars.
3 stars from this loss. First star, I'm going to give that to... Man.
Give it to IQ for coming back.
Yeah, it's IQ, buddy. First star for coming back. 14 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. I don't think you've ever helped with a 3 stars. This is history right here. You understand? 14 points in 15 minutes. Look, IQ, I just want you to stay healthy. I want you to sort of reestablish sort of what you are with this team and just get a consistent, healthy run. Yes, there will be a trade-off defensively versus offensively, but let's be honest. The IQ is way better offensively than the other point guards that have played for the Raptors this season, all due respect. And then defensively, I think that, like, they do believe in a higher level. So I thought in the 15 minutes he played tonight were really good. So I'm really happy to see IQ back in the lineup. Second star, Jacoby Walter, 14 points
that's what
off
I was
the
thinking.
bench.
Let's go.
Oof, wow. Okay, 7 of 8 from the foul line. Nice to see a rookie being able to draw the contact, sacrifice his body. He hasn't always been this consistent. And so he's more up and down. That's okay with me, though. What's really promising is that he looks comfortable with the ball in his hands. He's not strictly an off-ball player like an Ochai, like a Grady, for example. Like, it feels like, Jacoby can sort of, like, really, initiate a lot of the plays too with his ball handling. So again, if the more of the season is devoted to, showcasing what these young guys have and getting a sense and sort of accelerating development, I would put Jacoby really high up on that list. Like, towards the end of the season, I wouldn't even mind if he got into the starting lineup. Like, he's for me, he's very intriguing. And I thought tonight was another example of his potential. And then your third star, I mean, damn, bro.
It's
We
tough.
got
I was gonna suggest Chris for being the ultimate professional.
Oh, you know what? Chris Boucher, not even playing basketball, ultimate pro. You're gonna
Yeah.
get the third star, buddy. I mean, you always are first star, but yeah, it's
Dealing with this BS minutes situation, man.
you know what? This is the NBA is weird like that. You win, people get mad. You lose, people get mad. It's it is what it is.
How you gonna sit a guy playing so well, man?
Well,
Don't care about tanking, no tanking. Come on, man.
Well, let's free Chris Boucher. Let's
No,
start the
that's
hashtag.
BS, man. That's
All right,
BS. No Bill Simmons.
Okay. No, this is crazy, man. Your Gerald Henderson award, I'll give that to Jalen Smith, I guess. The goggles with Jalen Smith, I don't know, man.
Yeah,
He
modern
looks-
day Horace Grant looking ass.
I thought he kind of looks like a SpongeBob character. I just don't know why. He's
I don't watch SpongeBob. I don't
got
got a
like
reference.
Yeah, okay, you're 40, I get it. But like, he just look a little goofy. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
You know that
No.
meme of like, remember a couple years ago, Bleacher Report made that wild meme of like Larry Nance dunked on a guy
And he turns
and
into someone on SpongeBob.
he turns into Squidward. Like
Mm.
Jalen Smith giving me like not Squidward, but like one of those fish.
I thought Squidward was a Pokemon. Damn.
Squidward is not a Pokemon,
Damn.
man. Also,
We
I think he
might-
turned into Patrick Star, by the way. Not
we
Squidward.
not Patrick Star. Sounds like an adult film star.
Yo, what?
Oh,
Don't
by the
do
way,
that, man.
By the way, 7. You know, if the Raptors had won 7 straight games, I was gonna have to get a faux hawk.
Yeah.
So it's over now. I'm
Well-
safe for. I think I'm safe for the rest of the season. I don't envision the Raptors touching like even a 5-game win streak for the rest of the year.
If the Raptors are touching 5-game win streaks and at the end of the year, like the front
Mhm.
office genuinely needs to like be shamed. Like
Yeah.
this team needs to be going for the lottery balls. But I
So-
guess I am curious though, because like what would you have looked like with the faux hawk?
Yeah,
Because,
so W's in the chat, like and subscribe, everybody, for everyone still here at the end here. I think you've got a couple photos here.
we do.
Yeah.
So,
So let's
obviously
show them off.
we have this one from
Yeah, so
the
this was
2019 finals.
2019
Wow.
finals. This was when, in my prime of posting courtside pics on IG.
Yeah. Who took this for you, man? Was
It's
this-
either Charlie, Lindsay, Nelson, Nelcam, or Keyshawn. Yeah.
I guess Jeremy wasn't in the picture at that time.
Yeah, shouts to Jeremy.
Jeremy
wasn't
was
there
at
yet.
York University at this time.
Yeah, this was like after practice game 1, I think.
Oh man, yo,
Yeah.
this is heat. Take me through the fit too, man.
Oh man, vintage.
Shorts at the game? What are you?
Yeah.
What are you playing basketball?
I can't remember, was finals weather that good, where we were like we could pull
I
up
mean,
in shorts?
it was June, man.
Yeah, I mean, I had never covered basketball this late in Toronto, so I don't really remember. We usually
Yeah.
get swept in April.
What shoes are those, man?
So those are Nike Sakai's. And
Sakai.
vintage Nike Seattle, I think 3-on-3 hoop sweater.
Ooh, fire fit, man.
Yeah, but show them the other photo. This
Well,
is the close up.
So this is like what the overall fit looked like. But if
Sure.
you actually wondered what Alex's mohawk looked like,
If you
from
were behind
behind.
me, this is the Michael Grange POV.
I'm dying. Oh my god.
Look like a
No,
look like they let a skunk into the arena. Man.
Yo, what did you show the barber when you were like, yo, give me this, man?
Honestly, I don't know, man. I was going
You showed him
to
a UFC fighter or something?
I was going to Terminal Barbers at the time. Shouts to Terminal Barbers.
Oh man.
And I was
Your
like-
head
I was
shaped like a
like-
terminal right now.
He's like, you want a 1, 2, or 3? I'm like, just give me the faux, bro. 1, 2, 3 faux.
Yo, people killing you in the chat right now, bro. Someone said his head looks like the key. As they said, you the 3 in the key ass haircut. Goodness, man. Oh my god, man.
Haircut
crazy.
version of the 2024-25 season. Oh, Clay
Yo,
says Robert De Niro taxi driver.
Yo, you talking to me?
Oh man.
You talking? This is crazy. What did you pay for this? That's a good question because someone said self cut, no mirror, and someone also said $5 cut.
That's
So,
a tough self cut. No, I was definitely paying at least 40 for this one.
Yo, 40?
The going rate downtown is at least 40.
20 for a shave on each
Yeah.
side. What was the inspiration behind this? Because I don't even remember like why you did this. Like,
Honestly, I'm not even sure myself. I think I wanted some kind of like mohawk type look,
really?
but my barber just went too far. No, I was like, oh, I want a little bit up top where I can like style it a little bit, like just
oh
like
yeah,
like
Ooh,
keep
you
it like no, just
okay,
like
yeah. You had a little shape. You had a little
no,
shape.
like spike it
Mm.
a little bit, and
Mhm.
then and then when he showed me the hair at the end, I was like, all right, the finals is starting tomorrow. I guess this is my look. Like I definitely, this is definitely not what I was going for. Like he went a little bit too far.
Yo, I don't remember this look from behind, man. You're looking like the last Airbender.
Yeah. This is
Yo, what happening here?
This was
It looks like the razor died halfway through the haircut.
yo. This was an insane cut, man. So
Is it straight? It doesn't even look straight. Yo.
anyways, hopefully the Raptors can make it to the finals again.
Oh, they sent you back to the Qing Dynasty with this haircut, man.
All right.
Well,
Just wanted to let let the diehards here who tune in all the way to the end have a laugh with us.
You know what? I appreciate the fact that you're willing to have a laugh at yourself because this is not everyone will do this. Expose themselves in public like this, but also at the same time, I think I can't just leave you alone with this. I feel like it's not entirely fair. So I'm gonna also show you some of my former haircuts because we've all made choices back in the day, and if the Raptors are gonna lose, then somebody's gonna have to show off their hair a little bit. Is this the picture?
What is this, man?
I don't even know if you've seen this, man.
Yo, I've seen this one. You look like
Oh my god!
I don't even why are your teeth so white too? This guy in the chat.
Yo.
This guy in the chat showing teeth, man.
No, this crazy, man. This is a crazy look. This is me in grade 12.
This guy's teeth law, man. Why are your teeth so white?
Yo, my hair looks like a helmet. I swear.
Yo.
I got no forehead in this photo, bro.
Yo.
I don't even one of my eyebrows is not even on
No,
the picture.
I don't even recognize this person, man.
Oh,
No, this is wild.
someone said I look like an Asian lady. Honestly, a little bit, man.
No, I've definitely seen this photo before. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, I
Damn.
don't know, man. You know what? Looks like the Raptors are going to start losing again, so we're going to have to depend on some hijinks. We might have to pull up some of Jerome's old photos too, man, because he also had some mad haircuts from back in the day. So,
Oh yeah, I mean we can go through all the eras, man. It's all good. There's a lot of eras to go through.
This is tough. All right, well, this is fun. Thanks everyone for still tuning in. Raps lose, but we'll see. Anyway, there'll be probably more trade deadline stuff to talk about, but in the meantime, we'll still be going live after every game. Raptors play the Clippers on Sunday. I think the only good thing is the Clippers are going to be in town starting tonight, and so hopefully Saturday night in Toronto at least weakens the Clippers to some degree. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's going to be a little tough on Sunday, but again, that's not the main point. The main point is we got to see what the roster clarity even looks like. So hopefully by next week, the trade deadline is next Thursday. We'll have a much more clear picture of sort of who's here, what's around, and sort of what deals are made.
Yeah,
But
we'll be going live too. By the way, I saw a question quickly in the chat. We will be
yeah?
going live during trade deadline. We're just not sure where and when right now, but we will be going live. On trade deadline on Thursday. The deadline is at 3, so I would expect us to probably go live around 2 to 2:30. But if you guys are tuning into the React pods and stuff, we'll have updates for you guys on Sunday and all that.
Yo, someone said, "Mom." Yo, did my
No
haircut
way,
look like
man.
your mom is
You
sick,
guys,
man.
I need you guys to send in your photos from 5 years ago.
Yo, honestly, if you have a funny haircut from back in
Yo,
the day,
info at StevenLeBron.com. We'll literally
Info at
throw it up
Stephen
in the
LeBron.
chat.
Yeah,
But if
yeah,
you send it, you're consenting to giving us permission to post it on the.
and we gotta roast you a little bit, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah, come get roasted, man.
yeah, you know what? Honestly, the best part about going live is the chat, man. That's why I know a lot of people listen post game, but you just got to come to the chat. The chat is fire during these games, man.
Yeah, shouts
It's
to
great.
late to class. I just figured out it's late to class. I don't know why I always say L8 to class. Late to class, Clay, Devin, Landry. Some other people had to ban from the chat because they were wilding out.
Yo, you banning people from the chat is nuts.
I have to, man. It gets inappropriate sometimes.
Okay, fair enough. But anyway, we had a great time on this one. We'll be back on Sunday. You've been listening to the Hello and Welcome podcast presented by Betway, and yeah, see you then.